there's two different. There's Wisconsin linebackers and Nebraska linebackers. Nebraska linebackers usually do better.
So,
Levante David.
On that note, do you want to get to college football stuff, or you want to get into the championship game? What are you feeling right now?
I mean, we can kind of just hash over the championship game real quick.
I mean, we already kind of. I'm talking about this upcoming championship game because we already kind of debriefed the college game.
By the way, Clyde Edwards-Helaire declared for the draft. And
so is this your college football spot? Is that what's going on right now?
Nah, it's only like really just three other people. Like AJ Espinosa, he declared. Austin Jackson, the left tackle out of USC, he declared. He's going to get stronger and better, just not at USC. He kind of had to go. I mean, if they give you a first or second round grade, you kind of have to leave. He kind of reminds me of like a not as polished Tyrone Smith. Not as good, but close. And Espinosa had 11.5 sacks. I mean, he kind of abused Jackson in that bowl game, which, by the way, that's some foreshadowing to later. But it's kind of interesting to see like who's still declaring at the last second because the deadline is the 20th. So for underclassmen, if they want to declare for the draft. And Cole McDonald, the quarterback for Hawaii, shout out to Ryan. Damn it, I did it again. He pretty much said, like, he had to go. Like, he had to leave his junior season. He had three 1,000-yard receivers. The fourth receiver that he had like 917 or 52 yards or whatever. So he almost had 1,000 yards too. And next year's draft class is definitely deeper than this one's. So it's almost like he had to get in where he fit in because there's so much uncertainty at the top about who might. Like, hey, you have Joe Burrow, you have Justin Herbert.
I feel like every year we talk about how next year's draft is going to be better.
No, but like, okay, you
like
remember
in retrospect.
Do you really remember the Christian Ponder EJ Matt?
Is that 13? 13 was the worst.
The worst. Do you remember?
I think 17 was pretty bad too.
So I mean, and we could talk about like last year and how some guys weren't ready. But if we really want to throw on the tape, like Haskins is something to build around. Daniel Jones threw 24 touchdowns, 12 picks. That's something to build on.
Well, everyone was saying last year was kind of a down year.
That's the thing. People want quarterbacks to be readily made. They don't understand. You have to build. There's a foundation of what that quarterback is, but you have to be able to build around him too. Like Peyton Manning was trash his rookie year. And his second year. But by the way, just a quick side note, everybody who couldn't wait to take a dump on Lamar Jackson, none of your favorite quarterbacks were that good. Their second year in the league at only 22
okay,
years
bro.
old?
Are we what are you doing here?
What are you doing here? I just need to get that off my chest.
What are you doing here, bro?
I just needed to get that last part off my chest.
I said, do you want to talk about NFL? You were like, no, let's talk about college. Then you start talking about college, and then you jump into the NFL. What do you want to do?
I just needed to
where do you want to go?
I just needed to address that because kind of tired of hearing all the Lamar Jackson slander when he's better than your favorite quarterback of all time and their second year. But which goes back to my point.
Well, he didn't even play that much until his second year.
Okay, fine, yeah. So technically he's still a rookie, and look what he did. Okay, then.
See, what we're not going to do is drag Michael Vick just because you want to promote Lamar Jackson.
I was never dragging Michael Vick.
You said my favorite quarterback. Who else would you be referring to?
I wasn't talking about your favorite quarterback.
Oh, you were saying in general.
In general.
Okay,
how good was Tom Brady his second year? Troy Aikman. I can go down the list. Dan Marino's probably the only anomaly.
Well, I guess we're talking about NFL now.
That was the only thing I want to talk about NFL. We can get straight to the college.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so I got credentials for the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. Damn it, I got to stop saying That's 3. I'll donate to a charity or something. Made it out to today's practice. Shout out to Brandon Parker. Great liaison. Did pretty much any person I wanted to talk to, he helped me get them. So definitely always going to appreciate that. Got about 12 people, 12 different interviews.
When are we going to hear those? Where can we hear those?
They're going to drop tomorrow. They'll be published from Anchor.
Which is what?
Are you serious? Hold on one
What's
second.
the Anchor code?
Sorry. I've been holding that in for like all day. I can't talk today. It's weird. Touchdowns and Tangents Overtime, which is also on Spotify. So it's about just a bunch of different interviews. One of my favorites, I had two favorites, was defensive lineman on the national team, Ray Lima, Iowa State D tackle. Pretty much became a captain at Iowa State. Hailed all the way from El Camino College. Worked his way from Elko. He's talking about how he had to take an hour and a half bus ride to and from school from living in downtown LA. And he talked about, he's like, honestly, it was guys more talented than me, as talented, who easily could have been in this game. But the biggest thing is sacrifice. The biggest thing is sacrifice and just sticking to it. And when you come from the JUCO route, you need all that. So he was one of my favorite interviews.
You good, bro?
I don't know what's happening because, like, I was good all day today. I didn't cough once, and now I can't stop coughing.
Well, yes.
Stuffy, turn on the AC or something.
Sleep deprivation will make you sick. That's why it's important to take care of yourselves, people, listeners, not anybody in this room.
I mean, I have insomnia.
Not anybody in this room.
So I could literally turn all the lights off in a room, turn off all the sound and everything, and be sitting there, laying there in the darkness for 4 hours and still can't sleep.
Weird flex, but okay.
No, like I'm just saying, like when I have insomnia, I literally don't sleep for like hours on end. It's a pain in the ass. So, might go get a sleep study done. Hopefully I don't have polyps on my tonsils. I mean,
you for sure have sleep apnea.
Definitely. Even as a kid, my mom was like, yeah.
What else about college football is going on this week?
Also, I mean, people are getting ready, amped to go to the Senior Bowl. There's another prospect at the NFLPA game I want to talk about.
I think that's the biggest angle that you're kind of missing on the NFLPA game is a lot of these cats are really trying to play their way into the Senior Bowl when people get hurt or alternate spots.
That's why I brought up this person who you just kind of cut me off. That was literally my point for this next person. Wide receiver Juwan Green out of Albany.
Yeah, a lot of people have been talking about him. I think he has a 6th or 7th round grade.
Never heard of him before. I thought, I was like, I've heard of Albany. I didn't hear you. And he told the story of how his agent campaigned so hard for him to get into this game. He'd been training in Florida nonstop. And honestly, number 84, as soon as he got out there, he was just the bar for all the receivers on the American team. And honestly, I think he did better than – he was the best receiver all day that I saw. I don't think I saw him drop a pass. And every time I saw him catch a ball, he was so, like, silky smooth. It was like you couldn't touch him even if you wanted to, even though they were, like, kind of –
I think he started playing football late.
He only played football his senior year of high school.
Yeah, I think that's
He was a basketball player. He said he got a lot of his toughness and tenacity and work ethic from playing on AAU teams because they would just press full court the whole time. And he's also fast. Like, I was like, you 4'3" fast? You 4'3"? He's like, I'm fast. And he said, honestly, if you're fast at any level and you put in the work, you'll be able to make it at almost any level. And in his case, he was embarrassing cats. Like, he was putting up great film. He's like, I just got to make sure I keep putting up great tape. And honestly, I think if if they give him the ball, especially the American squad, they looked very polished on offense, like very explosive. The running back group, there's going to be some guys from this group getting drafted. There are some speedsters.
How did the Central Michigan kid look? Did you get to
Jonathan
see him?
Ward? Yeah, I interviewed him.
Everyone's been talking about him.
He's a burner. As soon as you see his body type, he's like, yo, you look like Alvin Kamara. But he's fast.
That's who he said he's modeling his game after.
Yeah, but he looks exactly like Alvin Kamara. Like, he even has the locks, the headband. Like, he's not as like strong looking. He's not as muscular looking as Kamara, but he literally
smooth as Kamara. Because I remember seeing Kamara work out right away, and it was like, okay, that guy's footwork is different.
Yeah. He today was blowing past people, doing everything in the passing game. He was a problem every time he touched the ball.
So, I've covered this game the past 4 years, and one of the things I've learned is that it's very challenging for the offenses to kind of get in sync just because there's so many moving parts. The quarterback play is so-so, just depending on who's there. So, did you see some of that, or did you get to see 11-on-11 scrimmages, anything like that? Did they look in sync, or was it just kind of like everyone just trying to show out and do their own thing?
It was kind of the opposite. This was probably one of the best rosters in years. They even said it. They got a whole new scouting staff. They had a lot of great guys.
Well, that NFL Network money, I'm sure that helped.
And they plucked a guy from Albany. Like, how
about, did you get to see the FSU corner?
Levante Taylor, yes.
Yeah. Did he look good?
He's like the embodiment of swagger. Like, when I talked to him, I was like, I'm talking to a Florida State DB. All confidence. It was.
Well, they were saying he could be a first-round pick like his sophomore year, and then he kind of got hurt his junior year, and then he kind of like
he switched to safety
the past year or so.
He was on that championship team. He came in under Jimbo Fisher, got a ring, started in that game too at nickel, and he felt like he said, no receivers really gave him that much of a problem. As a receiver out of Michigan State. Nobody really gave him a problem. He said, my biggest things are my speed, my feet, and my strength. Because obviously I'm not the biggest guy. And I was like, there's obviously the knock on corners not lifting, but you could tell he lifts. Like, he's jacked.
Yeah.
And the corners really didn't give up a lot of big plays on an American team.
Did the Cal Poly kid do anything?
Oh, yeah.
Koski?
Jared Koski, yep. Call him JJ for short. Ironically, the quarterback for Cal Poly, Jalen Hamler, went to Lawndale High. And we talked about that. And it's like, how did you, help bring along this kid, senior receiver? You got a redshirt freshman coming in. And he's like, man, and obviously the offensive scheme was a little bit different, but he's well on his way. But he was a security blanket, and he's like, he said, they had him in a slot, and he's kind of a big slot guy. Like, I think he's kind of like not Chris Hogan, not that tall, but he could make plays. He got some speed to him. He got some get up. He's not just big and a possession receiver. And
the linemen, did you see Rondell Carter, Johan Williams?
I'll say this.
Offensive linemen, Oregon kids. I think there were some kids from Tennessee on the O-line.
Yeah.
They always find like solid O-linemen with a lot of starting experience.
Here's the thing with the O-line, and I'm going to just break it down. So
they're not athletic.
No,
that's what I found.
There was some supremely athletic, somewhat almost not skinny, but like athletic. Like
too athletic?
You almost look like a tight end with a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
And the tight ends were
talking about the D-ends?
The tight ends were sneaky good. No. The D-ends had, like Christian Rector looked like one of the best ones. He had the most violent hands, quickest hands. It was Nick Roach. I forget his last name, but the Texas D tackle, he had explosive power. Lima was good. He was sturdy. The national team in their practice in the morning were kind of getting gashed in the run game early. But it was mostly like assignments. Chris Miller out of Baylor, safety, interviewed him, and he got a pick, and that kind of changed the tide of the practice. Kobe Williams, corner out of Arizona State, they were kind of communicating back and forth. They kind of locked things down, and he tipped a pass, and the defense kind of slowly took over. for the national side.